It is 3 a.m. You are lying in the dark, staring at the ceiling, while your brain cycles through a highlight reel of every awkward thing you've ever said, followed immediately by a terrifying list of everything that could go wrong tomorrow. We have all experienced this endless internal chatter. But if you can actually hear that voice speaking inside your head, who exactly is doing the talking? And more importantly, who is the one listening? We suffer from a massive collective blind spot. We assume that the voice narrating our lives is us. We identify with our minds so thoroughly that we mistakenly believe our entire existence is made up of our thoughts. When you cannot stop these thoughts, the mind effectively runs your life. This internal noise generates a persistent friction between your sense of self and the world around you, creating the cycle of anxiety and distress that feels so inescapable. There is an old allegory about a beggar who sat by the side of the road for 30 years. Every day, he held out his baseball cap to strangers, asking for spare change while sitting on the exact same rusted old box. One morning, a passing stranger refused to give him money, and instead asked what he was sitting on. The beggar brushed it off as just an empty box, but when the stranger insisted he look inside, the beggar pried open the lid to find that he had been sitting on a cache of solid gold for 3 decades. We are all that beggar. We spend our lives looking outward, scraping for validation, money, or a sense of peace from the external world, completely unaware of the immense inherent treasure already sitting right underneath us. This conceptual timeline model demonstrates what is known as psychological time. Psychological time is the mind's survival mechanism, where it sustains its own identity by living almost entirely in the massive, heavy blocks of past memories and future anticipations. The mind actively avoids the present moment. To maintain its dominance, your ego requires the continuous, dramatic narrative of yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's fears. Without that timeline of conflict, the mind's control begins to dissolve. This constant mental time travel is a self-imposed disease. It blinds us to the only physical reality that actually exists, right now. This brings us to a concept known as the pain body. The pain body is a collection of unresolved emotional pain, a heavy residue of past hurts and traumas that a person stores deep inside themselves. Just like a living entity, the pain body wants to survive, and its food of choice is negative energy. It actively seeks out drama, anger, and conflict to sustain its own existence. Think about a sudden, explosive argument with a romantic partner over something trivial. That sudden surge of defensiveness and anger isn't the true you reacting. That is your ego, your pain body, manufacturing a conflict to protect its fragile identity and feed on the resulting stress. You do not see this in the natural world. An oak tree does not harbor regrets about shedding its leaves last winter, and an eagle does not suffer from anxiety about the time of day. They simply exist in the present, free from an ego. These precise observations about human consciousness were codified by spiritual teacher and author Eckhart Tolle. Tolle realized that as long as an individual remains unconscious of this internal process, the pain body will quietly dictate their reactions, manipulate their relationships, and manufacture their suffering. The solution is to inhabit a different part of yourself, the observer. The observer is not the mind making the noise. It is the silent, neutral awareness that simply watches the mind operate. The most immediate way to access this state is through conscious breathing. When you focus your attention entirely on the physical sensation of air entering your nostrils, filling your chest, and leaving your body, you successfully interrupt the mind's continuous, stressful narrative. You give your attention to physical reality instead of mental illusion. The second method is inner body awareness. This is the act of feeling the subtle, vibrating life energy in your hands or your chest and observing that sensation without applying any mental judgment or labels to it. By anchoring your attention in these physical sensations, you step directly into the role of the observer. You effectively hit the pause button on your mind's endless projector, stepping out of psychological time and entering the absolute stillness of the now. Operating in the present moment allows for true surrender. In this context, surrender is not about weakness, giving up, or passive resignation. It is the active, conscious acceptance of exactly what is happening in the current moment, without fighting it. When you get stuck in a massive traffic jam, Your default human reaction is to grip the steering wheel and rage against the delay. But resisting reality doesn't make the cars move any faster. It simply takes a neutral situation and multiplies your own pain. Navigating life's difficult situations is a lot like walking through a thick, blinding fog at night. You can't see the destination, and the obscured path ahead is terrifying. This animated diagram illustrates how conscious presence acts as a flashlight in that fog. It does not magically illuminate the entire future for miles ahead. Instead, it reveals the safe, immediate next step right in front of your feet. By surrendering to the present moment, you dissolve the fear of the unknown and the bitterness of the situation. You stop fighting the fog, which provides you with the exact clarity you need to take effective action right now. Operating as the observer changes the way you interact with everyone around you. By removing ego-driven demands and the desperate need to be right, you open up a genuine space for connection and listening that was previously crowded out by mental noise. You begin to see that the future cannot provide you with ultimate fulfillment, and the past cannot inflict any further damage upon you, as long as your attention remains firmly anchored in the present. The mind is a brilliant, necessary tool for our physical survival and for navigating the logistics of the world, but it is a highly destructive master when we use it as the source of our human identity. True peace, love, and life only exist right now. That profound inner wealth you've been exhaustively searching for was never waiting for you in some distant, imagined future. It is the gold hidden inside the box you are already sitting on.